Hello and welcome to Outside In. My name is Steven. The reason for this video is I got a comment and I want to show you that right now. And the comment was from Stan 2443, and he said, most excellent information. You describe everything in great detail, making it easy for us to understand. Have you ever looked into oxygen meters? I have a smart sensor O2 monitor and I am confused as to what I am doing. Do you or any of your followers know of a detailed operations manual for the smart sensor AR8100? Any information would be great. Thanks, Stam. Okay, first of all, Stam, thank you so much for that question. This has led to this video. Okay, first of all, the manual that does come with these, not very good. Absolutely not very good. It's Chinglish is what it is. It's hard to follow. Now, in the manual, it does talk about calibration, but it's very confusing. So I basically said, I don't remember the response that I gave him, but after I responded to him, he said, thanks for the quick response. And then he had a question about calibrating the device. And it is calibrated to atmospheric air, which according to the manufacturer is 20.9%. Okay, first of all around the world, the saturated oxygen is 20.9%. You don't want to calibrate an oxygen meter in a closed up closet. You do not want to take an oxygen meter into a cave and calibrate it. You do not want to take your meter underground and then calibrate it, because you're not going to get a good calibration. You need open air oxygen, which is saturated oxygen, and saturated oxygen is 20.9%. You can take your monitor into the kitchen, open a window right next to your kitchen table if you're concerned, but as long as you have open air environment, like this room right here, open air environment, it has plenty of oxygen in here, and it's 20.9, the saturated oxygen level should be. If you are even more concerned, then all you have to do is walk out on your porch in the open air, and that's definitely going to be 20.9. There's not going to be a 19% unless you're going into a cave or starting to go underground. Then your oxygen levels are going to start dropping. Just make sure you're in an open oxygen environment and you're going to have your 20.9 that this needs to be calibrated in. Turning on the monitor, it counts down from 10 to 0 and then displays 0.0 with AL2 with the alarm flashing. I also have the smart sensor AR8100. Okay, I just really haven't used it, and as a matter of fact, I forgot I even had it until you sent me this question. And then I was like, oh man, I need to get that thing out and start playing with it. So I actually was trying to mess around with this to calibrate it, and I think I messed it up. It started flashing different numbers up and down. It would go to 0, and then it would go up to 30%, then it would go back down to 20.9, then it would drop to 15, then it would go all the way down to 0, and then back up to 30. So it was going nutty. So I think I messed it up, and then that's when after your message, because there's nothing in the manual about 0 calibrating this, I will show you the AL1 and the AL2 are alarm level to set to where the alarm starts going off, and I will show you how to adjust that and set that. The APO that you were talking about stands for automatic power off. If you turn that on, it automatically shuts down after 10 minutes of being on, of no using it. If you haven't touched any of the buttons, within 10 minutes it'll automatically shut off. That's what the APO is for. So I think defaultly it comes as off, but if you want the monitor to shut down by itself after 10 minutes automatically, then turn the APO on, okay, to do that. Let me show you oxygen levels. Okay, 21% is saturated, and that's normal. 20.9 or 21%, that is normal saturated oxygen. At 18%, that is the minimum value of oxygen content as per the labor, safety, and hygiene standards. I found on the internet that somebody else is saying 19%. So it's 18 or 19%. 14 to 18%, a person's breathing becomes quicker and deeper, and limbs cannot be moved properly. Now see, the oxygen levels, you don't want to go down very far. It's not like carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide. They can fluctuate many numbers before there's going to be a serious issue over a prolonged amount of time. But when it comes to oxygen, those numbers just come down a couple points and you don't have long to where something serious is going to be happening. Okay, 10 to 14%. A person may be tired and lose attention. At 6 to 10%, person may be dizzy, nauseous, lose consciousness, and go into a coma. Less than 6%, a person may stop breathing and die. And now I wanted to show you this. Okay, now this is some information that I found, and it said in 2006, 3 farmers died at the bottom of an agricultural shallow well where the atmosphere contained only 6% oxygen. This study aimed to document the variability of levels of oxygen and selected hazardous gases in the atmosphere of wells, and to identify ambient conditions associated with low oxygen situation. So 3 farmers died at 6% oxygen levels. That's why it is so important to know your oxygen level. In your house, you should be fine. Unless your house sealed it completely off, there's probably not a whole lot of reason to worry about your oxygen level inside your house. As long as you're not sealed all your windows and your doors shut and there is no air that can get in or out, then you're going to have a situation. It's good to have an oxygen meter in your car while you're driving, especially if you're transporting 5-6 people and your windows are rolled up. It's wintertime. You can't have the windows down because you'll freeze to death. Okay, if you have your windows rolled up, and a lot of people make a mistake of putting their car heating system or AC system on recirculated air. That's a big mistake. Yeah, you should never ever set your car at recirculated air. It should be fresh air. Set it at fresh air because you have oxygen coming in all the time, constantly coming into the vehicle. But if you put it on recycled, then that's just recycling the air that's in there and there's no outside air coming in. So if you have all your windows up, you have 5 people in your car with you, they're all using the same oxygen in that little space. So your oxygen levels are going to start falling. And then people are going to start getting sleepy. And you as a driver could fall asleep at the wheel. That's probably why a lot of people actually fall asleep at the wheel. Because they have their car set on recirculated air. And they have all the windows rolled up. And they're trying to stay warm. Okay? And they have, even if it's by themselves, after about a couple of hours of being by yourself like that, you're using up the oxygen that's in your car. So, and if you have 2 people or more in your car, then the little bit of oxygen that is getting into your car is getting used up quicker than it can come in because you have your car set on recycled air and you have all your windows rolled up, okay? And you may be driving a pretty new car that is pretty sealed, okay? And now if you have an old car that has holes every so often, then you probably don't have anything to worry about because you have plenty of oxygen coming in all these little holes anyway. But if you have a newer car, especially like a Tesla, an electric car, that those things are really sealed. So if you have that car on recycled air only, no outside air to come in, and all your windows rolled up, then you are even more susceptible to falling asleep at the wheel because you are using up the oxygen that you have available to you. So when you're calibrating this monitor or any oxygen monitor, do not do it in a closed environment like a car or like a small room or a closet. Go to your kitchen, go to your living room, and if you even want to be 100% sure, go outside. Go outside in a big fresh open air. You're going to have 20.9% saturated oxygen no matter where you are on the planet, unless you're in a country that has a complete dome over the whole country and there's 15 million people in that country and they're all using the same oxygen. Now you're probably going to have an issue with oxygen levels. So let's go to the bench right now, and that would be right there. Okay, here we are. This is the Smart Sensor AR8100 oxygen meter, and let me zoom in the best I can here for this. Okay, now this is here for a reason, because we're going to be doing some timing, weighting that we're going to have to do while we're doing this. Just make sure that If you want to disable the automatic power off, press and hold mode button for a couple seconds or so. Okay, and it's showing off. Make sure that before you start this calibration process that you turn the device on and make sure the APO is off, because if it's on, then you won't be able to complete the calibration, because once you power this off, it remembers the setting, and once you power it back on, whenever you try to do the calibration steps, this is going to power off automatically after 10 minutes. So you won't be able to let it set for 30 minutes. So make sure that this says off, okay, before you turn it off to start the calibration process. And just to be sure, you can press and hold the mode button again just to make sure it took, and it did. It's set to off. Okay, hit the mode button quickly to go into AL1, alarm 1. Now what you do is, see this number is flashing. Okay, you press the up or the down arrow to move, to make that number go up to 9, and it'll start back over to 0. Hit the down arrow button to go down. Okay, and if you want to set this at, say, 17.1, now to move to the 8 digit there, press the unit button, and that will back up to the next number down the line. Then again, you use the up arrows or the down arrow to change what that number is. And then now it's saying 17.1. Now that means anything below 17.1, it's going to cause the alarm to go off. So, and then hit mode, and that will take to alarm 2. I thought one of these was going to be a low setting and one was going to be a high setting, which actually there really should be a high setting. Where at alarm 2, we can press the up but key to go to bring this decimal point up. We can hit the unit to go back to the 7, and then press that one to go up, and now it'll alarm at 18.5, and then press the mode button to accept it, and now the alarm is set for alarm 1 at 17.1 and alarm 2 at 18.5. See, I really don't see the point of that, because once it gets to 18.5, it's going to alarm. It's going to alarm before it ever gets to 17. What I thought was going to happen was at the alarm 2, you would be able to set to, say, 25, because you don't want your levels to go above 21 either. No more than you want them to go down. You don't want too much oxygen. Too much oxygen can be, I would say, just as deadly probably as not enough oxygen. So I was hoping that there was a high level. When you hit the unit button, it changes the Celsius to Fahrenheit, and this, the down arrow is also a light backlight, which is very nice. Now I'm going to show you how to zero calibrate this device. Okay, if your device is on right now, Stam, turn it off. So turn the power off, hold the button down, power button down, turn it off. Don't get rid of your cap. I see some people getting rid of the cap. Don't do that. And the reason for that is this cap protects from dust. Protects the sensor from dust. So, and moisture. So yeah, don't take this cap off and throw it away. That helps the longevity of these sensors. Okay, so now we're going to zero calibrate this. First thing you do is power it off. And now we're going to remove this plastic piece, turn it counterclockwise, like that, and then it comes off. And now this is the oxygen sensor right here. We want to remove this. So just pull it straight out. That's it. Just pull it straight out. Just 2 little pins there and a plastic pin to make sure you get it in the correct way. So just take that out and leave it out, set it aside. Okay, now we're going to power this on. Step 1, remove the sensor from the meter. Now, step 2 is to turn the meter on. Okay, now during the countdown process, mode button and the unit button hold together at the same time, and just hold it until the screen shows calibration. Okay, 0, calibrate, CAL. Okay, so the next step is to press and hold the mode button for 3 to 5 seconds to enter the calibration mode. So this is the mode button, and press and hold it for a few seconds. Okay, there we are. Now we're at the calibration mode. Okay, now here is what I have this out here for. All right. Now what you want to do is leave this for about 10 minutes, and then eventually it will stabilize. So you should leave it run like this for about 10 minutes, and we're going to do that right now. And I'm going to let it run for 10 minutes, and hopefully within 10 minutes it should be stabilized. Okay, it seems to have stabilized around 31, 32. But yeah, it doesn't really matter what the numbers are as long as it gets down to where it's stable within a couple numbers or so. The next step we're going to do is press the mode button again, and it will show 0.0 with cal at the bottom, and it says 0 at the top. Okay, now we will press the mode button again to display the oxygen value. Okay, when the reading is 20.9, that's when you want to reinstall the oxygen sensor. Okay, once you've reinstalled the sensor, long press the mode button to enter calibration screen for the oxygen sensor. So press and hold the mode button until it goes into the calibration mode for the oxygen sensor. Now here it will start to count down. So you start to go down. So you'll want to let it run like that for 30 minutes. At least 30 minutes for this number to also become stabilized. But this should run for at least 30 minutes to stabilize. This one here went down to somewhere around 2100. I reset the timer here, so we're going to let this set for 30 minutes so it can, until it comes down and stabilizes. Okay, I think it's pretty stable now. Once you've let it set for at least 30 minutes and it seems to be stabilized, only jumping around a few numbers at a time, then hit the mode button again real quick, and that will go back to the 20.9. Once it shows 20.9 again, then all you have to do is press the power button real quick to exit it. Exit out of the calibration mode. And now it will be registering correctly. Let's go and finish this out. Make sure you replace your cap when you're not using it to keep dust out of the sensor. Okay, that's it. And Stam, I'm hoping this helped you, or I hope this helped anyone else who may have the smart sensor AR8100 to know how to zero calibrate it. Because anyone out here who does have the manual to this, it is not real clear on how to calibrate this. So the way I showed you how to do it is the way that you want to calibrate it. But also remember, any open air environment is going to be a saturation of 20.9%, no matter what meter you have. Okay, now I can't think of anything else that I need to say, so I'll end like I always do. Take care of yourself, take care of each other. Find someone that needs a reason to go on and give them that reason. Find someone that needs to laugh, make them laugh. God bless us, everyone, and I will see you in the next one.